Esquivel. Santa Maria will put up a three. Warner, here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win. And it's saved. What a game. To the left. That is gone. Here's a main goal. Live once again here, Cadillac located in guests on the show here. Tell us through what are you most excited about for this season, especially?
Yeah, I'm most.
What are you most excited about for this season, especially?
Yeah, I'm most excited to prove people that, like, be able to do their job, and that we're gonna work hard. Be able to do their job, and that we're gonna work hard to do good and beat other teams.
Of course, and yeah, one of the things as well, we kind of mentioned it before, but like, what do you expect to be your toughest opponent this season? Well, we kind of mentioned it before, but like, what do you expect to be your toughest opponent this season?
But we're glad that we get to have it home in front of our fans on our field. We're excited to prove. Them coming down here, everybody thinks, oh, it's a valley. It's Valley football, and excited to prove. Them coming down here, everybody thinks, oh, it's a valley. It's Valley football, and make a statement to
play. I know, of course, Kevin. It's great to, of course, have you on, and great to have all your teammates on, especially, sir. And we're looking forward to seeing you perform to your highest ability. To our next guest, a couple of questions, of course, for you. I'm playing as well, or?
For sure, Austin Regents, because last.
Good luck on the defense and good luck on the offense as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Defense and good luck on the offense as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So yeah, see you in Cadillac. Well, anyways, of course, tell us about
You might see me on the defensive side. No.
Or not as much.
Not as much, no. They didn't really need me on the defensive side of the ball, but this year it's a little different story, so you might see me there.
Gotcha.
There.
Of course, yeah. And on going forward.
They're in the ball a lot. It's gonna be fun, you know.
It's for what game they're most excited about.
Corpus Christi Carroll.
Exactly, and you against Austin Regents, you get to play against all other teams in that area. So being able to play against those 5A schools, what do you?
Job of proving we could hang with the bigger schools, you know, like 5A Corpus Christi Carroll, 6A Vets, 6A Edinburgh Economides, all those big schools that we can hang with them.
Awesome. And of course, yeah. Anything else you wanna say? Shout out, winning district and
yes,
potentially making it to state.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Play defensive end, and my number's 55.
Awesome. So yeah, you play defensive end. What is the toughest part about that position?
And I think that's the toughest part about doing it.
Gotcha. And so, or I guess that position to improve on during this off season and getting into that regular season.
I think my pass rush, I'm really excited to do that. And their quarterback, I think he has a few offers, and I think
exciting indeed. So yeah, you mentioned of course what other game?
I think veterans.
Of course, yeah. Be it.
Even though we're a private school, we can stand with 6As, 5As, and stuff like that.
Of course. Well, I guess yeah. Well, thank you for coming on for sure. Yes, sir. Thank you. It's been very fun. So, welcome into the show. How are you doing? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm good on varsity football. Last year I wasn't really able.
You said you didn't get to play a lot.
Get in. Hopefully get some targets this year. Hopefully some touchdowns.
Of course, yeah. That's what we want to hear. What are you most looking forward to, of course, this season?
Hopefully some touchdowns.
Of course, yeah. That's what we want to hear. What are you most looking forward to, of course, this season for especially game one? Like, it's a fun environment, and we're looking, of course, forward to seeing how that one goes. And for your season,
do good.
Yeah, well, thank you for, of course, coming on. It's going to be great, and welcome in. How are you?
I think our boys know that they're going to have to put in a lot of work. watching, we only have 6 returning starters on each of good teams to prepare us to get ready for the games towards the tail end of the season. But obviously, we want to have a winning season, and we have a real because Raymondville's going to be tough. They're all going to be tough. So hopefully we can find the right.
To ask, there's a lot of.
They're all going to be tough. So hopefully we can find the right.
To ask, there's a lot of people that have to play on both sides of the ball. You mentioned, of course, not a lot of players that return and all of that. So is that something that was kind of returned and all of that? So is that something that was kind of expected, that you knew that?
St. Joe, and it's the best he left red zone situations, short down situations, certain game situations where you're in the fourth quarter and it's a ball game, we're down or we're tied in that situation. We're going to ask a lot of these guys the best 11, and if that means 3 or 4, do that.
That makes sense. Do you feel like, because every other field is going to be a turf field, and you all still have the pure, beautiful, real grass field still at your place, and it always, when I go, it always looks immaculately beautiful. And so do you feel like that's always an advantage when they have to?
Hitting a bunch of rubber.
Makes
Right,
sense, yeah.
and so I think it's a definite big advantage for us, utilizing that to our advantage. But the real magic behind it, I tell my football players all the time, is that because we haven't state championship games on that field, and so I'm a big believer that
Season for you especially. I know Kevin Arl will do a great job behind the mic, and it's going to be fun. We're looking.
Yeah, we're excited, and the last thing I'll tell you, the longevity of successful teams, it's revolved around the same QB.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, well, like I said, we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to you all having that success, especially for the Valley, especially for Brownsville. And
his expertise and also his attitude, his demeanor and the passion that he brings into our coaching staff has definitely transformed the Bloodhounds. So a shout out to Coach Monty Stombaugh that's out there.
Awesome. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It's gonna be great. Yes, thank you for coming on. Especially thank you all for always having our back.
This is started putting
A little bit just about some sports going on in the Valley as well. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Sherryland ISD. Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where a culture of academic success. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition. Excellence is our tradition.
Training programs, all at the most affordable cost in the Rio Grande Valley. Transfer your TSC credits to a university or start a new career, like Kat Gomez, who graduated from TSC and is now patrolling the streets of Brownsville and serving her community. Register now at tsc.edu/register and study local at Texas Southmost College. Southmost College.
Back live again once again with Jacob Young. Went on the road, traveled to Central Texas to play Central Texas Coyotes FC. That was a very interesting match. 2-0 was your final score. Indeed, a new roster was kind of introduced, a new lineup for this side. No J.C. Alvarez, starting goalkeeper, of course. And it was a very Javiano Francis, Vicente Alvarez, Carlos Gonzalez, all of that fun stuff. We'll quickly tell you it was a 2-0 win and really views here very shortly. Keviano Francis scored and Vicente Alvarez scored. Really quickly. Your new signing of Jack Crichton, he gets the shutout and gets on the team of the week for the roster or for the team, and now they play at FC Dallas in Frisco, and then they will go to Tyler FC in Tyler, Texas. So very exciting indeed. And yet on I just wanted to bring a little bit of, and that's exactly what I will leave. Next will be Brownsville Jerry Fun. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Leo just graduated from high school, but also with his associate degree from Texas Southmost College at no cost. Not having that financial burden was so helpful to our family. That's 2 years we did not have to pay for.
All of my TSC credits transferred to UTRGV, and I am so grateful to go into my major debt-free.
At Marine Military Academy, we educate those who dare to achieve. Those eager to control their future before it controls them. Those who can follow a path so they can eventually make their own. To MMA, forging tomorrow's leaders.
South Padre Island. Enjoy endless activities for all ages. Then dance the night away with live music, savor fresh seafood, and discover unique food trucks and shop our charming boutiques. What are you waiting for? Escape the everyday at South Padre Island.
Graduate. Back we go. First, this was the team's first against Corinthians FC of San Antonio. So they played against Central Texas. And that was going to be an interesting match. Central Texas was struggling throughout the regular season normally, and so that was one thing that everyone was going to be interested in. Can the RGV Red Crowns make sure to be able to put the right step forward and be able to score? We'll turn off that mic for a split second, but be able to score more than one goal in this match. Can they break through and put another thing in the history books of scoring more than one goal in a match? And can also it be Vicente Alvarez scoring his second goal, being the first player to score a second goal in club history as a total, as in he scored the first ever goal and all of that. So will the forwards be able to go forward and be able to score? That was a big question mark. And, of course, who's going to start at goal? We already talked about it, Jack Crichton or Christian very soon, but we go back to it. He was signed not too long ago from the NISA soccer team of the Savannah, from Savannah, Georgia, the team from Savannah, Georgia. But that was an interesting thing. So you kind of move on with it. And one of the coolest parts about this whole entire thing was that this man was on a show for a split 10, the Wrexham AFC. The Red Dragons, to be exact, is kind of course, their nickname. And so that's such a phenomenal, such a cool thing in general of just one of the situations of went to Wrexham and then goes over, plays a little bit more in the League Cup, I believe. Exactly what I'm looking at is for transfer. So let me get exactly his whole thing, because this is one of the newest players on this team, and it's just absolutely so cool. And it's just making sure, and so he goes to Savannah, plays, and he has a teammate on this team, which is Zach Hargreaves. Both of them, of course, being from England, but playing on the same club for Nisa, which is kind of interesting. And so you get back to it. Off of that transfer market, Savannah Clovers, Colwyn Bay in 2022-23, and Embry Eagles, of course, this doesn't really have any, but all the way down, of course, to the RGV Red Crowns playing on the semi-pro team. Why that's such a big deal? He is a well-known goalkeeper and trained with one of the, well, not at the time, of course, the best teams that now finds themselves in the championship. So that's pretty interesting indeed. And so exciting. So absolutely exciting for that whole entire thing, for that man. And he was able to be just absolutely amazing in the first match. Yes, he didn't have a lot to save, but when he did, it was very impressive. Being able to get a shutout in general is no way, shape, or form anything bad. And then you look at like I mentioned before, which is so interesting, which was, of course, the team of the week, trying to get back to it. Which, again, you have not only Jack, but you have Taviano Francis, your midfielder, who, of course, more of a right midfielder than anything, makes his way onto the team of the week. So it really helped out. And, of course, we mentioned, of course, your 2 goal scorers. And so that was just a team effort in general. That's what it means, of course, to be an RGV Red Crown, is for all these players to really come together and make sure that they're able to do this. Again, I love the way that this team has been taken so seriously in the RGV, especially in Harlingen. Absolutely beautiful. And so it is one of the top things that, of course, we can always see, and just puts it perfectly. So, looking forward to their next 2 matches. Of course, they're on the road at none other than FC Dallas, so they have to travel all the way to Frisco and play at 10 a.m. that Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, at one of the FC Dallas practice fields, which is pretty interesting. Then you go all the way to Tyler, Texas, which is about close to a 2-hour drive on top of that. So just something very interesting indeed. Looking forward to all of this coming up here very soon for this team. Again, this club, what can they do? Being able to get a victory potentially, or at least taking 1 point away from FC Dallas's U23s this Saturday will be phenomenal. Then getting 3 points against Tyler, that will be massive. Tyler FC, they've been struggling as well. If this team can take advantage of it, it's going to be key. This group has been grown a lot as well. The forwards, the strikers, all of this. So we will expect to, I at least expect to see a different roster or a different starting 11 come up on the Saturday before the Sunday, before both, for one game to the next. JC Alvarez maybe starts one, and then you have Jack starting another, or vice versa. I don't know exactly, but I would expect to see something like that, and I cannot wait for this next 2 matches. And then after that, they're back home a week from Saturday to play their next home match and trying to take advantage of potentially a win streak or a no-loss streak potentially, which will be very exciting, because now that we've gotten a little bit more info, there may be 4 teams that make the playoffs from each region. And so each division, if all the RGV Red Crowns will, of course, be pushing for top 2 in my eyes. Anything below that, first year, but at that same point, I'd really like to see them have that top event. Well, we'll be right back after this. When we return, we will continue with the show. We might have a couple of interviews. If not, we'll move on with a little bit of a Le Mans talk. Of course, it's this week. Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac.
Can I afford to continue my education? What are my options? At Brownsville ISD Career and Technical Education, you can graduate from high school with a certificate and or license ready to go to work, debt-free. We have a wide range of programs for every student, ranging from audio, law enforcement, STEM robotics, electrical, welding, pharmacy, patient care tech, and many more to choose from. That's why Brownsville ISD is the best choice.
We go once again here in Cadillac. Again, today is a special show. It may go on a little bit longer, but guess what? I'm absolutely loving this so much. Being able to talk. Thank you to Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac for allowing us to do a media days here for Rio Sports Live Network. Thank you to Joe Bowling for allowing me to do this show. It means so much to be able to do this. And well, just getting to talk sports, getting to talk my butt off. It's funny, not too long ago, a couple of days ago, really, I was playing college football 2025. Of course, we're waiting for that college football 2026 to kind of come out, which is always fun. But, I mean, we're talking about 80 days until at least high school, 80-plus days until high school football comes back. We're talking about just a little bit more until college football comes back in September, and it's a joy. I really do love soccer, but at the same time, nothing beats Friday night lights and Saturday, waking up at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., grabbing your coffee, grabbing your tea, whatever you drink, and turning on College Game Day. Seeing, of course, well, now this year we won't get to see Lee Corso do a head pick, but now getting to see probably Pat McAfee do something similar like that. And so just absolutely so much fun. Like I said, this is the media days for the Brownsville schools, and so much fun for that. We'll have more on. We had St. Joseph Academy on. Hopefully, of course, I'll be able to filter more in, and we'll get to talk to them because it is fun to talk to the players. What are they most looking forward to? What have they been able to practice so far? Or just getting what do they want to improve on for this next season, and just all of that fun stuff. It's going to be so exciting, and I cannot wait. Anyways, move on. So one thing, of course, to kind of talk about, well, it's Le Mans week, and so I will kind of mention that I'd talk about that. Today was qualifying for the Le Mans 24 hours, and they had, of course, some fun being able to qualify that normally. So what happens is the prototypes, the GTPs, the top class, or the hypercars as they call them, they qualify on their own. But then you add the LMP2s and the GT Le Mans 3s in together, and they qualify at the same exact time. And so that just helps, of course, move on for qualifying and all that fun stuff. And it's about close to an hour qualifying. You switch drivers out and all of that. They had a red flag, of course, in qualifying, which was pretty interesting because, well, Mercedes ended up stopping at a bad place, meaning there's some mechanical issues with that car. Probably, most likely, we'll have to start from the back. But again, a 24-hour race, you can make it up in time, have a good strategy, and all of that. It's such a fun thing. Nothing truly does test your car like Le Mans. Nothing truly tests your car like a 24-hour race, and it's beautiful. I love it so much to death because it's fun. It really is fun. And so it's really good stuff. But again, we move on, and one of the coolest things about Le Mans in my eyes was in or not in 2 years, but 2 years ago, of course, one of the coolest things was NASCAR decided to compete in Le Mans again. They created a Garage 56 car that was a stock car, but made with having the correct downforce, having the horsepower that they needed. It ended up being faster than the LMP2 cars. The LMP2 drivers were afraid, and the GT3 drivers did not like that it was going to be starting near them. And so it was all that crazy stuff. And Jensen Button being one of the drivers, an ex-Formula One driver, turned endurance driver, he raced with it, and it was absolutely just phenomenal and so neat because it was something so unique to everybody, including myself, including all of Europe, basically, that were tuned in, drawn into this race to see how that car would do, and then all of that. And so you have these special storylines of it, and first-time winners, and Toyota, of course, that infamous finish right at the end where Toyota were devastating. But you have those storylines. Corvette popping a tire with Ricky Taylor behind the wheel on the final lap, trying to push for the win. It just doesn't get better than that for endurance racing in my eyes. And so, can't wait for the 24 hours of Le Mans this weekend. Of course, not to mention a little bit of a side race to it as well. One of the races, it's called Road to Le Mans. And so that is for drivers that will be at Le Mans probably the following year or something like that. They race in the series to get experience with it. And WRT, of course, always brings out a car for BMW and Porsche and all these other manufacturers. I believe LMP2 are a part of it too, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, one of the coolest parts about that, well, we talked about it before on this show, but again, Samantha Tan Racing, aka Samantha Tan, she'll be a part of the WRT team for this weekend, and she brought out her new race suit. Looks absolutely phenomenal. The car looks absolutely beautiful as well. It is going to be the number 38 car, so she will keep her number for this race with Team WRT, and that is absolutely phenomenal. We're looking forward to it, and looking forward, of course, to rooting for, well, Samantha Tan Racing and Samantha Tan in that race, especially it's 2 races. Of course, there's support races to the 24 hours of Le Mans, which makes it very exciting. And Samantha Tan gets to try out and see how, of course, it fares for the 24 hours. In their first practice, I did read that they were top 5 in class, or top 5 overall, I believe, and doing pretty well in class. And so, of course, we'll just triple check on that. Just want to give you all the correct, not the correct assumptions, but the correct stuff. And yes, it was P5 in class at the end of FP1 following that. And so FP2, 2 hours, 8:30 p.m. local time, which would have been 2:30 Eastern. So it's actually just about over for that. So we'll get, of course, all that information soon. Anyways, 24 hours couldn't be any more special, and looking forward to it. We'll move on very quickly into the next topic that I want to talk about as well. We stay with racing, but it moves on a little bit more. Of course, we all know the Indy 500 not too long ago, May 25th, was, I believe, the day, if not 24th. Point is, it was Memorial Day weekend. Absolutely phenomenal. And so one of the things that I kind of thought of for that was, well, okay, there's talks that Monaco is going to be moving dates. Not that big of a deal. What are they going to replace it with? Well, they decided to replace it with the Canadian Grand Prix on Sunday. For 2026, what does that mean? Well, it basically means that race would probably start around 2 p.m., if not 1 p.m. Central Standard Time here in, well, Texas, basically. And that interferes massively with the Indy 500's time, because the Indy 500 would start, for my time locally, 11 a.m., 11:30, maybe green flag drop. And so normally that race lasts around 3 hours, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, given no real, maybe to 2 p.m. of course, given no real delays. And so it would, the Canadian Grand Prix would interfere with the end of the race, end of the Indy 500. To this day, we don't know why. At least there might be some other things going on behind the scenes of why exactly Liberty Media decided to make the Canadian Grand Prix on that day, kind of ruining the best day in motorsports. We talked about the best day in motorsports a little bit before, where you, as even an American, you'd get to wake up 8 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, grab your coffee, and you get to watch the Monaco Grand Prix, the Monaco Parade, as I like to call it, because the cars are just a little bit too big to race on the streets of Monaco. Then, after that race, you'd have, of course, 11 a.m. You'd be able to race at none other than that beautiful, beautiful track of Indianapolis 500. You get to watch that race is what I'm basically saying. And then afterwards you wait and boom, you have the Coca-Cola 600 that starts in the evening time around 4:30, 5 p.m. So that's always very exciting in my eyes, and it ends at like 9 or 10 p.m. Local time, and it's a phenomenal day. Then, of course, normally for most Americans, they have the next day off, or unless they want to work. And so it's awesome. It's beautiful. It's a day that normally, yes, of course, it's remembrance, but at the same time, it's just something great. So that's a gripe of mine. I think it's a gripe with a lot of people because, including myself, I was going to try, and if nothing really conflicted, was going to try and make it to the Indianapolis 500. I still will try, and that's a race on my bucket list that I will always want to go to, and I think I'm going to try and cross it off this next year. And it's special. Not to mention, of course, you move on and you have the Canadian Grand Prix really clashing with the Indy 500. Come on. For people that want to do both, that would be me one day, but it's just, it stinks that Liberty Media decided to do that. Now, there are some good things on the F1 calendar that I'm looking forward to. Not Monaco, but Madrid on the calendar, and a couple of other race circuits, but to watch, it's just one of those situations, unfortunately. But yeah, we're looking forward to the next, we're looking forward to the next races for all of this. And of course, like I said, a big motorsport weekend of the 24 hours of Le Mans. We'll move on and we'll take a quick break. When we return, hopefully we'll get some players to interview here coming up very shortly. I'm Jacob Young, this is Fruia Sports Live Network here on Luke Fruia Motors. Luke Fruia Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, well, check out Luke Fruia Buick, GMC, and Cadillac, located at Brownsville. Be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Fiber, business or home, take a look at what we do.
The standard of excellence has always been Cadillac, so be iconic and drive one. Fruia Cadillac, Brownsville, Texas.
I'm the new athletic director here. I started here 13 years ago, and 13 years ago, our juniors and seniors were in first grade and kindergarten. As they grew through their lower elementaries, I taught them in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And now I've coached them their freshman year, their junior year, their sophomore years, and even this year, their senior year. That's one of the pluses here at our school. We're such a close-knit family type of community. You go to big schools where kids might just be a number. Here in San Perlita, kids have a name.
Back we go here from Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac, talking sports here with Jacob Young. Well, I'm here with the one and only JC Ramirez. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Super excited to be here. Super excited to get things in order for our upcoming football season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, gosh, it's always an exciting time for football. I'm a soccer guy, of course. I love soccer, but also, I mean, I grew up watching college football for my whole entire life, and so in high school football as well. So this is just, it's a great time. And of course, yeah, looking forward to getting back on the call for some football. But I mean, let's talk about it. Team, you moved to 6A this last year. What was that experience like for kind of a little bit of a jump?
You know, definitely making the jump to 6A, you have to expect that you're going to be playing against teams that have, just a little bit more depth than maybe the teams that you're used to when you're in the 5A ranks or lower classification. And that's exactly what we saw. But at the same time, we knew that we were coming off of a banner year, and we had a lot of talent coming back. And so we were excited for the challenge and the opportunity to compete every week with a powerhouse of a team, and that's exactly what we got, And so it was a pretty exciting experience, and I can tell you, that it was very rewarding to go through it because we had a lot of successes, but we also learned a lot of things about ourselves where we needed to improve, and so this coming season presents that opportunity to go out and time to put up or shut up, right? Yeah. So 6A football, great deal, but boy, are we excited to be in that mix.
So, like you mentioned it, you learned a lot. What are some of those things that you really were able to learn besides that depth, not having as much depth, and now you're able to kind of bring that in? But like, what are some, I guess, other things in a way?
The intangibles that come with participating at the 6A level, specifically 32-6A, for as long as I can remember, 32-6A has been known as the meat grinder of the valley, right? Because you have powerhouses, established powerhouses like San Benito, like Harlingen High, like Los Fresnos, and then, you round that off with Hannah and then ourselves. Every matchup in district play is super important because it dictates whether or not you go to the playoffs, and every one of those matchups was a battle, and so as far as like what exactly did we learn, what exactly did we gain, I think more than anything, confidence in knowing that whether you're 5A or 6A, if you're going to be wearing the Charger red, white, and blue, and you've been preparing for 8, 9, 10 months to meet the standard that we have for ourselves, guess what? When Friday nights come along, we're going to be all right. And so that's something that we truly believe, that as long as, we're preparing to be the best version of ourselves today, when we show up Friday night and we got everybody working in the right direction or pulling in the right direction, we're going to be competitive, and many times we're going to have, what we ultimately want is one more point than our opponents on the scoreboard.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember, of course, being at Sam Stadium last year, calling the Los Fresnos versus Brownsville Vets game.
Yep.
And I mean, yeah, you mentioned it, the meat grinder. That game was at the death, of course. I don't believe it was a result for you all. Y'all got knocked off by a field goal, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But my point is, of course, with that being just, I guess I don't know where I was really going with it, but that of course is tough of that district, and so yeah, I'm sure you want that revenge against them at their place.
For sure. If you're a competitor like the way we are, I mean, you always want to win every game on your schedule, and for us, I believe that's a very realistic goal to have, every year, and this next year is no different. I happen to be good friends with Coach David Cantu at Los Fresnos, a big admirer of his work. Guess what? I worked for him, when he was at Brownsville Veterans. And so there's a lot of what I do as the head coach that I learned from him. And so, that matchup was one that I knew was going to be very exciting for our community because we're so close to each other. Our kids know their kids, and their kids, know our kids. And so there was not going to be a lack of emotion for that game. And that's how it played out. Now, obviously, one team had to win, the other one had to not win. And that night, we did enough on our end to not get one more point than our opponent on the scoreboard, right? And so looking back, there's so many things that you extract from that game plan, from the way we executed on offense, defense, and special teams. And you can't cry over spilled milk. So we're definitely not forgetting about us not getting the expected result for that game, but at the same time, we've moved past it, and now we're excited to get started with the very next one on our schedule. And so that's where we're at. But I think if you don't learn from big games like that you don't win, then what are you really working for, right? And so we learned a lot. We definitely learned. We got to keep the ball in our possession. Don't put the ball on the ground. Looking back at that specific game, there was a 21-point swing that we caused to ourselves, right? And we gave some of those opportunities to them, and so good for them. They took advantage of the situation. Now we're looking to return the favor.
Of course, yeah. And you all still were able to make the playoffs, and so how much different was not only, of course, you all made it on that run in the beautiful 2023, but going into that season and going into the first round, being able to win, but in that second round, all of a sudden kind of being put quickly to a halt because right off the bat, you're playing against San Antonio schools.
Yeah, so, even that one, man, we got our matchup was favorable in the first round. We played another Valley school, and that game wasn't a given. You had to go in and earn that victory. And, Texas high school football and being in the playoffs is a unique opportunity that kids have, and as coaches we never take for granted. So we were very lucky to go through our first round matchup and get that W. And then the second round we played New Braunfels Canyon High School coming in. They had on paper, they had a far superior team, but nobody told our kids.
Yeah.
And as a staff, we definitely didn't want to make sure that they were intimidated in any way. So we went into that game. Unfortunately, we lost 4 games this past season. I'll tell you this: we lost 4 games this past season, and those 4 games we lost by a field goal or less.
Yes.
Each one of those. So, including that playoff game. And that playoff game, it's a heartbreaker in the sense that we had the lead, and we just couldn't hold on to it. And our third round matchup would have been very favorable, and we could have found ourselves easily in the 4th or 5th round at the 6A level. So, but we didn't get it done. And so going back to the beginning of our conversation today, man, we're excited for this next coming season because there's a lot for us to prove to ourselves.
Yes, I love that too, especially proven to yourself. Couldn't be any better. And yeah, no, it's so much fun because, like you mentioned, heartbreak, that builds character so much. Because now you got those scars, and now everyone's saying they're probably gonna burn out in the first round, burn out in the second round, whatever. And so now, that improvement. And so, what are you most looking forward to on your schedule? I know you all have a lot of those games. You talked about Los Fresnos, but I mean, what other matchups especially?
Man, our schedule is built to really get us ready for a playoff run. I'll be very genuine with you. We have on our schedule teams that run all kinds of offenses, and we're blessed to have the teams that we're playing. We did lose 2 non-conference games last year to teams that were very successful in their own right. One of them is our cross-town friends / rival, which is St. Joseph Academy. People have no idea how tough they are, and the people that do know, guess what? Those are the guys that say, "No thanks, coach. We're not gonna play you guys." You know, so not a lot of people will take that challenge of playing them because they know that they are very, very good. And you can only play 11 at a time. So they have a roster of maybe 40 players. Tops, but their top 11 are as good as anybody in the Valley, and so I knew that going into last year, and lo and behold, they signed 2 guys to Division I football programs. Only team in the Valley that did that. Only team in the Valley that's probably done that in, I don't know, in the last 10 years maybe. And so, we're excited for that ball game. We're also looking forward to travel to Laredo. We play Laredo Alexander. That's another game that we lost in non-district, and they're a perennial powerhouse. They do things well, and then we start our district run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a team you brought it up as well with the Division I players. That's a team that has a couple of. I guess they sent a couple of players to Division I FCS, but it's still Division I nonetheless. With I'm blanking on his name, but he plays for UTRGV now. So that's
Claudio and Diego.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll forget him. I won't.
There you go.
That's my job, right?
Yeah.
But no, Claudio was hands down, one of the best athletes I've ever had to face, as a coach. Man, I'd venture to say I've been doing this for 23 years, and I've been on staffs where we've had to play some really, really good, Valley legends, and Claudio is just as good an athlete as Mishak Rivas was for Weslaco High, and people might not believe that, but they might think I'm a little crazy when I say that, but hey, I was there, and I had the privilege of trying to stop both of those guys, and I'll tell you what, Mishak Rivas, Claudio, same sentence, same breath, built in the same way. And both of them true game changers. And so I'm excited for Claudio. As a matter of fact, I've gotten to know him just a little bit, as a person, and I'll be one of his biggest cheerleaders now that he's moved on to UTRGV. And then Big Diego, you don't get recruited to UTEP or programs like that, just because you know somebody. That guy's legit. And so, again, that was a great matchup for us. Real excited for the rubber match, or this year's matchup, and I almost forgot. We beat a very good PSJ High team, the Bears.
Right. Yes.
We were able to beat them at their place. So this year they're coming to our place. So we know what we got ahead of us, and because of that, we know that our preparation has to be on point, and it has been.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, maybe I should talk to Joe. I mean, let me tell you, I live in McAllen, so I get to see some great football as well, and especially some great volleyball. But one of the things that I might have to say is, do I want to travel an hour over here to cover some football? I might have to. I might have to go over.
That PSJ matchup might be a matchup of, if everything plays out the way I expect it to play out, that might be 2 of the top, 3 or 4 teams in the Valley this coming season. We'll be playing that game at our school, at Veterans Memorial High School Stadium.
Okay.
And, that's a very intimate setting.
Yeah.
And boy, do we like our chances every time we play there. So that should be a great way. You should totally beg to cover that game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't realize. I think that y'all would want to play at Sam's, but I get it. Of course, like you said, it's smaller, so it might be even louder.
It's amazing. Last year we were able to host St. Joe there, and again, our community, they know each other, and so this year we get to go to Canales Field. I'd expect it to be as crazy, but yeah, anytime we were able to host a game, a varsity football game at our stadium, it's awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah, I've been told and I've gotten to cover soccer, big soccer matches there. 2 years ago, the regional, last year? 23. There we go. I got to host cover the regional quarters the regional quarters when it was Brownsville Vets and Lopez. And let me tell you, absolutely electric.
Yeah.
It's like the mini Sam Stadium.
You
in my
know,
eyes.
UTRGV hosted their spring football game at our
That is
at
yes.
our facility,
Mhm.
and man, yeah, people were like, "Wow, what a cool deal!" And like, hey, you should be here for when we play a varsity football game. It's maybe not as organized because they went all out. They had their pep squad, they had their band, but all in all, it was a great experience. And every time we host a big ball game at our campus, it gets like that. So yeah, hopefully you guys can make it out.
Of course, yes. We'll be looking forward to it, sir. Any final words?
No. Thank you. I want to thank Luke Fruia, Real Sports Live, for doing these exposures, these media days for our kiddos. And more than anything, if you're watching this, thank you for supporting Valley Sports. Thank you for supporting Valley Youth, and for believing that our community is worth your time, your investment, and more than anything, your love and your energy. So thank you all for out there, and go Chargers, baby.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, sir.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, there you go, JC. Well, yeah, just thank you once again. Yes, sir. Well, there you go. Brownsville Veterans Memorial. There we go. Of course, getting to talk to the head coach. We'll take a quick little break, catch our breath, and when we return, we'll get you with some more interviews, hopefully. If not that big of a deal, we'll move on. And, yeah, we'll be here until the dust settles for this media days. Jacob Young's Real Sports Live Network. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Elevation, AT4, AT4X, Denali. Case closed. Fruia GMC, we're professional grade.
Are you looking for a new place on South Padre Island? How about Starney's Hot Dogs and More? These dogs are delicious, and they're made the way you want to order. A new place on South Padre, Starney's Hot Dogs and More. Stop by today.
Fiber, this is our home. Take a look at what we do.
Sunny Glen Children's Home has provided a place of hope for every child since 1936. If you'd like more information on Sunny Glen and the services we offer, please visit us at www.sunnyglen.org.
South Padre Island. Enjoy endless activities for all ages. Then dance the night away with live music, savor fresh seafood, and discover unique food trucks and shop our charming boutiques. What are you waiting for? Escape the everyday at South Padre Island.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district focusing on quality and rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
When you study local at Texas Southmost College, you can choose from over 50 associate degree programs, certificates, and workforce training programs, all at the most affordable cost in the Rio Grande Valley. Transfer your TSC credits to a university or start a new career, like Kat Gomez, who graduated from TSC and is now patrolling the streets of Brownsville and serving her community. Register now at tsc.edu/register and study local at Texas Southmost College.
time to take a new look, maybe your first look at Buick. If smart, hip, and affordable is for you, Buick's your brand. Fruia Buick, Brownsville, Texas.
Back live once again here from Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. We'll probably go over the 3 p.m. mark. It's normally 2 to 3. We also started a little bit earlier. Should have started even sooner than that in my eyes to try to get more schools. I believe there will be one more school. I believe Brownsville Rivera is still here. They should be the last one. They started at about 3. So if we can't get them on, hopefully we can. That would be great. If not, we'll learn very quickly, and then we'll close out the show. But we're here until, like we mentioned before, the dust settles here at Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, come check out Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac here from Brownsville, Texas. What a fun show it's been. Absolutely having a blast here. Just being able to talk sports, talk racing, talk football, talk soccer. It's been good stuff. I had JC, of course, getting to talk a lot, and yeah, it was just a very fun conversation for us to have, and being able to just hear what he had to say. Those 4 losses, like he had mentioned, by a field goal or less, and unfortunate end of the road last year, and now all of a sudden players coming back and getting to of course, do some games getting to play some games, I should say, at their own home instead of Brownsville, or instead of Sam Stadium is pretty interesting in my eyes. I would expect them to want to get more fans in the stands, but they want to host at their own school, and I don't see why not. It's as local as can be, and it's as best as can be. That's how, also in my eyes, it feels like every game should be for every school, playing at their own home instead of playing at, a stadium that might be a 10, 15-minute drive or something like that. But, of course, it's not necessarily the case. It's just so much fun. Looking at, of course, all of this, we're still months away. We've just hit the summer break. Legitimately for McAllen High Schools, McAllen ISD, I should say, they just went on break, I believe, this week, last Wednesday. This is their first full week of summer vacation, and so it's pretty interesting indeed. I don't know if Brownsville Rivera the Raiders will want to talk. If not, again, not that big of a deal. We're just looking for them. If not, like you said, we'll probably close out the show. And indeed, I think that's exactly what we'll end up doing. Yeah, it's been a phenomenal show, and looking forward to all of it. And it's been great. There's nothing more for me really to say on this note. Le Mans 24 Hours, like we mentioned, of course, it's this week. The College World Series for baseball will officially begin this week as well, so that's always fun. In Omaha, Nebraska, beautiful, beautiful facility there. And so, yeah, it looks like we may be wrapping up this show from Luke Fruia Buick GMC and Cadillac. Just making sure that will be the case. Looks like that is exactly what the case will be. Well, just waiting for the 3 p.m. mark once more. But we got to talk to head coaches. We got to talk to St. Joseph players. It's going to be a fun 32-6A this season, 32-5A as well in football. And I can't wait to bring the action for you all here on Rio Sports Live Network. Whether or not I'll be in the Upper Valley, a couple of times we'll probably end up coming here. And even if it's Sam Stadium, getting to cover some of those awesome, awesome matchups from Sam's Stadium at worst. If not, I expect Joe Bowling to be covering the cool Brownsville, St. Joseph, Brownsville, Vets match, or that would be, of course, Kevin Darrell, and then, of course, Brownsville Vets and Los Fresnos potentially. That will also be exciting. So just all of that fun stuff should be a great time. Anyways, that's going to wrap things up here from Luke Fruia, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. Just making sure that that will be the case. And indeed, I believe that will be 3 p.m. has officially hit. So yes, indeed. Thank you all so very much for watching this extended show. Almost hitting 1 hour and 20 minutes. Could have started even sooner, but didn't end up happening. Single week, and really, really grateful to be able